Hi, I'm Kat. I'm the chairwoman of Ohio Western Reserve Ladies, and I'm talking to my co-chair Becky today about Ohio Western Reserve Ladies and our Wreaths Across America project for 2024. Okay, so I think we should reestablish some back information on some of the things that we know to be true about Ohio Western Reserve Ladies and Wreaths Across America. What do you think?
No, I think that's a great idea. I think we've gotten a lot of questions recently about how the two are affiliated, and back to the basics we go.
All right, so let's start with Ohio Western Reserve Ladies being the liaison for Wreaths Across America on Ohio Western Reserve National Cemetery. All the big words all at once. So let's talk through all of the components to all of our new followers.
So how did Ohio Western Reserve Ladies get involved with Wreaths Across America?
Yeah, I think that, on the most basic level, the wreaths on the cemetery are such a visual representation of a family coming to pay respects to their loved ones. When we talk about this, I always get emotional, whether it's my own family or somebody else that's in our group or something like that. But I also think it's hard for people to see the difference between it being an event on the cemetery and not a cemetery event. So when they came to us and asked if it would be something that aligned with our mission, were we willing to educate people on the difference, and how were we going to kind of align?
Correct. So, our mission is no veteran buried alone. And it's important to us to have recognition, honor, and remembrance surrounding the veterans that are buried at the National Cemetery. And this is a way to do that. So the Wreaths Across America National Program, again, national based.
Yeah.
We are bringing that program and having an event at the cemetery. So the cemetery is hosting the event. They are not responsible for raising any funds for the event. They don't organize the event. That's where we come in. We're the liaisons that help that event happen on the site of the National Cemetery here in Ohio at Rittman.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's really interesting has been helping some of our VSOs, our corporate sponsors get involved, and the education piece, which again, Ohio Western Reserve Ladies has taken such a kind of like a heartstring to educating, but really getting people to understand how to keep their funds local. Ohio Western Reserve Ladies still to this day does not touch funds, whether it be Wreaths Across America or any kind of other outside supporting funds, but how to keep their Wreaths Across America donation local. So, members of their VFW or their AMVETs or their ALKs that are interned at Ohio Western, how we get to specifically recognize those members. How do we keep their donations local? We've been working with a couple of large organizations recently. There's a lot of money that is being given to the cemetery, to the advisory committee, to Wreaths Across America that's now getting to stay local because we've really held on to this education piece. I know you and I see it, but that's really important to a lot of people that we talk to.
Well, absolutely. And people were definitely giving their money with the heart in the right place of saying, I want to support the cause. And what they didn't recognize is by not putting the cemetery code on their donation, they were giving out to the national group distribution when we could be getting every grave covered.
Yeah.
No veteran buried alone, every grave covered at the cemetery that's right here in our own backyard. Plus, it's always an opportunity for us to talk about just that. Too many of our local vets don't even realize that we have a national cemetery here.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I think one of the things that is a byproduct of what's been going on is the exposure that Wreaths Across America has given us locally. You and I had no concept what Wreaths Across America was going to do for Ohio Western Reserve Ladies. And while it's a huge endeavor, we've got multiple schools involved, we have corporations, we've got donors, we've got all these things. Our social media has grown like crazy.
Exponentially.
Our membership is huge now, which allows us to make sure that no veteran is buried alone. We have huge member counts at our quarterly salutes. Wreaths Across America, I think when I see it now, isn't just a workload, isn't a dollar donated. It is a vessel for some of the other work that was what we intended Ohio Western Reserve Ladies really to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I think it's crazy when people don't maybe see the whole picture, but maybe only interact with a few of our ladies, and then they start to see the pieces come together. We've spent the last couple days together, and people start to see all the pieces. It really makes people emotional.
Yeah, it does. It's humbling to be a part of not only the fundraising aspect for Wreaths Across America, but the event itself on the cemetery, and just to see how many people come out in droves, all in a volunteer fashion, some with groups, some as families, some individuals, just to make sure that their grave specific is laid. I don't know. It's great. It's a great thing to be a piece of such a bigger puzzle.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about what's different in Wreaths Across America this year than some of the years past. What is one of the things that you think is going to make the biggest impact this year, now that Ohio Western Reserve Ladies is truly the liaison for 2024?
I think that education piece that you just talked about, and being able to funnel those specific donations right back into Ohio Western Reserve National Cemetery. I think we're seeing our higher wreath count right now as larger than we have at this point in time in the fundraising season in previous years. And that's so exciting. I also think some of the operational changes that we're making, parking is going to look a little bit different this year. It's going to be some off-site parking except for handicap placards. Just trying to get the event itself run smoother so that it's just enjoyable. People are there for the right reasons, and those things, everything just kind of happens smoothly in the background.
Yeah, I think the ability to slow the event down and truly recognize all of our veterans, right? When we talk about a growing cemetery, right? Because Ohio Western Reserve isn't a closed cemetery and we're interning veterans every day, needing to have that 32,000 wreaths. That's a big number, right? It's more than we'll ever have raised ever before, but supporting the families through that process, making sure that it's an enjoyable event out in the cold in Ohio.
In the middle of December. What could possibly go wrong?
But I think that, getting the traffic under control, making sure that everybody truly gets their wreath ordered the way it needs to be ordered so that we can plan, right? And yes, that means you got to have your receipt when you come pick up your grave specific. And yes, it means you got to make sure you tell us whose grave you want marked so that logistically we know who else still needs to be marked. The students we're working with, stunning. We have had this additional recognition at the State House for these students. I think it's going to be great.
We're going to have signage that's going to not only assist on the day of, but be something that's legacy going to be used year after year. And again, just helps that process go smoother, the day goes smoother. So it's also exciting.
Right. Okay, so parking off-site for everybody. Oh, a later start time. That's the other thing that we didn't say. So if you come to the cemetery, it's not in the dark anymore. For 32,000 wreaths, that's helpful. Slowing the event down. You have to have your receipt to pick up your grave specific. Even if somebody else bought it, please make sure you have your receipt. And just acknowledging our veterans and our students that are there learning. I think it'll be great. How can people help? This is another one we kind of get stuck on quite often because it seems daunting. Get involved. You don't have to check in as a volunteer this year. Those lines kind of got long and we heard that. So only if you're a large group, we'll have kind of a rally point this year, but you can get involved. Bring your VSO or get your VSO involved, I think is a big one. And you can donate. We've still got kind of a big gap to close. So corporate donations, VSO donations.
And we've had questions before asking, where does this money go back to? That's $17 that we're paying for a wreath. So you're literally paying for the wreath, and obviously the, Wreaths Across America as a whole to run the organization at a national level, but everyone there is unpaid. They're volunteer on the day of. Every truck driver that drives those boxes and boxes of wreaths from Maine down here or to whatever cemetery they're going to, those are all volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty incredible. I don't think people realize when they look at the price of the wreath that it's not, it is bows from an actual tree. They're made. They are, handled individually and packaged individually, and like I said, driven down here on a volunteer basis. The whole process is pretty incredible, and I would definitely point people back towards the Wreaths Across America webpage and take a look at the history, watch some of the videos. It will bring a tear to your eye. But I think that answers some of that question as to where does this money go back to? It does not go back to the cemetery. It does not go back to our group whatsoever, not a penny. We're the liaisons helping to make this happen.
Yeah. I think the other thing is that it's part of the bigger picture, right? We're doing this because it is that visual representation that we're supporting the families. No veteran buried alone. You can come and be a part of our quarterly salutes. Our next one's in January on the 7th. So that you don't have to hang out with us on New Year's Eve. But, the last Tuesday of every quarter, or you can come on Wreaths Across America Day. You can come on Memorial Day. You can find you or I on the event day. We want to meet you. We want to be a part of that community that is the family of those who are interned. And I think that the one thing that is probably the most moving since we started this a couple years ago was the people who walk up to us and say, my husband was just interned, or, my daughter was just interned. I've only been here for a few weeks. What do I do next? Or watching our members put their arms around each other, trying to create that community. I don't think you and I even conceived that was possible when we started to build this.
No, that's definitely been the perk through all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just about Wreaths Across America. It's about the community that we're building outside of it.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully this answered some questions for people today. I think if they have more questions, our website is probably the best place.
Yeah, our website really right now during the season is built, I think, perfectly to be able to redirect people if they have questions. There's a Wreaths Across America tab. It takes you right to Ohio Western Reserve, their Wreaths Across America page. It's easy to order and then get some questions answered. There's also some contact us opportunities and chatbot opportunities. Really, those come back to us as us and our volunteers to be able to field those questions.
Yeah, so OhioWesternReserveLadies.org, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. And if we haven't done a great job at finding you an answer there, then one of our volunteers will try our best to get back to you. But again, we are all volunteers. Also.
Phone calls are tough, and I feel bad. We're definitely limited bandwidth, but we're trying our best, and we appreciate everybody's patience. And
we are all family of those interned as well. So we're all here on a common mission. All right. Well, hopefully we did a good job today, Lucky.
I think we did.
All right.
Hopefully we answered those questions.
Thanks for hanging out with me, girl.
Always.